Let me just get this out of the way now. Ultrakill is a very, very violent game. There's a lot of gore, a lot of blood, just everywhere on screen, and I can't exactly edit around that. If you're easily disturbed by this stuff, that's your warning. Now, on with the video. Now, I'm not exactly an active Smash player. I played it casually with my college group a lot before COVID happened, but I started playing it less and less moving forward. Nowadays, I rarely play it. However, I do consume a lot of Smash content. And one of my favorite types of content to consume is movesets for characters not already in the game. So I thought, you know what? Let's throw my hat into the ring too. The character of choice here is one that I haven't actually seen people make a moveset for yet, but has gained a fair bit of popularity in recent times. That would be V1 from Ultrakill. I'll give some background on Ultrakill itself for those unfamiliar with it. Ultrakill is a fast-paced, ultra-violent retro FPS combining the skill-based style scoring from character action games with unaltered carnage inspired by the best shooters of the 90s. Yes, I did just read the Steam store page description, what do you ask? The game's still in early access, but Layer 8 should either be out or releasing soon by the time this video goes up. And it looks so good at the time of recording. With V1 having as many weapons as they do in the game and other means of attacking, it means that I was able to kinda fill out a moveset in my head a little bit. Then I sat down and started analyzing more and more, and now it's returned into a video. Subscribe if you enjoy, and let's add V1 to Smash. The very first thing I want to say is that this video will not be going over exact numbers for anything. This is all about sharing general ideas first and foremost, and the violence factor isn't something that I want to worry too much about personally. Getting stuck in the weeds of that would make things very annoying to work, would drag the video on, and would take away some of the fun. This is a concept only zone, but I may bring up other characters as comparisons here and there. In Ultrakill, your firepower is insane, but your survivability is actually not that impressive. You kind of have a bit of a glass cannon in there. How do we adapt this to Smash? Very simple. V1 will be a lightweight character with a lot of firepower. V1 will also be fairly floaty, just like they are in the game. A tall, light, and floaty character puts him in a similar spot to Mewtwo, just without the death or bounce issues. But considering how early you can get launched, it's still not gonna be that much better. The actual mobility stats are okay, but it's nothing too crazy, except for air acceleration. That one's excellent. Turning on a dime in midair will be very easy for V1 to do. V1 will also have 2 jumps like most characters, since those swings are basically just for show, and will be able to wall jump like a lot of other characters. Now, before getting into the moves, there's one more thing that V1 has that other characters don't. Or rather, that they don't anymore. You see, back in Melee, if you jumped in the middle of a run, characters would actually keep their momentum. So V1 will be able to do this in reference to the dash jump. Speaking of, V1 will also have one more bonus option. Their dodge rolls will actually be the dash, and you can cancel that with a jump. The dash also moves really fast, so this will be your main option for movement if you need to get somewhere fast. However, this will be the role with the least intangibility in the game, and the dodge cooldown that Ultimate introduced will make sure that this isn't extremely abusable for running away purposes, and you can be very predictable if you spam it. You gotta know when to use it, right? This is only for dodge rolls. You can't cancel the spot dodge or air dodges this way, though directional air dodges are still a little faster than average, but they also have less invincibility to compensate. Now we can actually get into the moves. Starting with V1's jab, we have a simple 1-2 punch. V1 would do a regular punch forward with the left hand, then follow up with a hit from the hilt of the gun, then the last hit will be a right hook. The second hit is innovated, but the first and third hits are the animations that V1 has when punching an enemy and deflecting a projectile respectively. Speaking of which, yes, the first and third hit can deflect projectiles, but the timing is very tight for it. Okay, the tilts are a little simpler, I promise. F-tilt is just a generic swing of the arm with the gun. Has good range and flame data, but that's about it. It's kind of similar to Inkling's over tilt. Up tilt is a similar thing. Another generic swing, but this one's overhead. The startup on this one is a little slower, but it helps in combos. Down tilt, of course, had to be the slides on the game. It works similar to other sliding down tilts, and it's a good combo starter, but it doesn't cross off shields. But it does have another special property. If you use it out of a run, or right as you land, it will actually carry your momentum. You can use it for surprise attacks or mix-ups, but the lack of shield cross-up makes it really risky to go for. The dash attack though, it's the funny spin that V1 does in the level colloquially known as 4-S, aka it's the Crash Bandicoot spin. The animation is similar to Mega Man's dash attack, but it has a bit more startup, and it is a strong kill mode at the start, with a combo enabling Sour Spot after. So it functions more like Ganondorf's dash attack, just without that crazy kill power or the crazy kill confirms after. The smash attacks are where things get interesting again. The forward smash is the Knuckle Blaster. I mean, obviously, it's the big dumb punch that does big dumb damage and explodes. This will actually be a two-part attack, like Link's forward smash. The first hit will do a lot of damage and hit stun, but not a whole lot of knockback. If you press A again, the arm explodes, which does little damage but a lot of knockback. Get them together, and this move is nasty, but it has pretty slow startup with a much smaller initial hitbox. If you land the first hit and mid to hypersense, you can choose to not do the other one and then follow up with other hits. Up smash gets creative though. This one makes use of the pump charge shotgun. It has a bit of startup, but it will shoot a shotgun blast into the air. Has OK KO power up close when uncharged, but the bullets scatter as they go up, dealing minimal damage and knockback. However, charging it will make V1 pump the shotgun, making it stronger. At half charge, V1 will no longer shoot bullets, but instead create an explosion that covers a decently wide area and has a lot of KO power. About on par with Fast Piranha Plant's up smashes. Obviously the charge time will still make it very slow, so you won't see this super often, but it could be a decent ledge trap tool if you time it right. Down smash will use the alternate of the nail gun, the saw blade launcher, and it will actually use all three variants of it. Upon startup, the first thing that V1 does is place a magnet from the attractor at their feet. Then they will shoot a saw blade. If the move is charged halfway, they'll shoot two saw blades. If the move is fully charged, they will shoot an overheat saw blade instead. Regardless of which saw blade is shot, blades will do multi-hitting damage until the finisher hit, which will make V1 jumpstart the magnet, which sends saw blades and opponents flying everywhere. Though the flying saw blades are just for show, as they will go into the Z-axis and not hit anyone. Whew, that was a lot. The areas are a lot simpler at least. Neutral air is also the Crash Bandicoot spin. Compared to the dash attack, it comes out faster, but the sweet spot is much weaker. Think of it like Peach's neutral air without any of the float cancel shenanigans. Forward air is similar to jab 3, being a right hook. It can also deflect projectiles like the jab. Back air is a backwards kick with a strong killing sweet spot, similar to Samus's back air. Up air is creative. They pull out a skull out of nowhere and punch straight up with it. It's a strong killing up air, but the hitbox is pretty thin, so it's really hard to line up. And just for fun, the skull can be either red or blue randomly. And the down air, obviously, has to be the ground slam. It's a stall and fall, but it's V1's fastest way to go down to the ground instead of floating character. Landing makes a shockwave, where the hitbox is bigger than most stall and falls, but doesn't do that much damage. However, when landing, you can cancel it into your sliding down tilt to have maximum momentum. That's how the normal's done, but before we talk about the specials, let's talk about the grab real quick. V1 will have a tether grab, the Ziplash. It has good range and is pretty fast for a tether grab as well. Obviously, you can use it for tether recovery by grabbing onto the ledge, but it has a little quirk where if you use it in the air, you can latch onto the opponent to pull you in. At any point during the pull-in, you can cancel it with any action, and you're gonna have to sometimes because it doesn't put the opponents into hit stun, so they can hit you out of it. Forward throw will make V1 throw the opponent, as well as a coin from the marksman revolver. Then V1 will shoot the coin and it ricochets perfectly into the opponent. It's good for tag chases, positioning, and sending people off stage, but it will never combo or kill. What would kill is back throw. V1 dashes forward and pulls out the alternate shotgun, the jackhammer, a weapon that does more damage the faster you're going. V1 will then dash back into the opponent, then release the jackhammer. This has incredible launch power. Up throw will use the SRS cannon. V1 pulls out the rocket launcher, puts the opponent on top of it, shoots a cannonball at them, then punches the cannonball back up into them for big knockback. It's a decent kill throw, but with good DI you should be able to survive it. And you can only DI the final hit, you cannot DI the first hit. This is not a Falco Laser situation. And for the down throw, V1 uses the sawed on. You hold the chainsaw up to the opponent for a second, then punch the chainsaw which launches them both before the chainsaw comes back to V1. It does good damage, and that's about it. Alright, it's time to talk about the specials. There's a lot to these, so buckle up. Stop me if you've heard this one before, but for the neutral special, they wield a gun. V1 will use the Piercer revolver, and this comparison isn't just for the sake of the meme either. The bullets will behave similarly to Joker's bullets, but there's a lot of differences. V1 won't get the option to do a dodge, downwards drill, or spinning variant. Instead, they can simply walk forward and back and do a single jump with it. They can aim anywhere between, let's say, 30 degrees above or below. If you hold B, you can do a charge shot. It hits harder, but it flies a lot slower, and it has a big cooldown after using it. You can't shield cancel it either, you gotta commit to it. The side special shares a lot of similar rules. You can walk forward and back, do a single jump, aim it like 30 degrees up and down, etc, etc. The difference comes in exactly what V1 shoots. They will use the core eject. The core eject is a small gravity affected bomb that comes out of the shotgun. If you don't hold B, it'll drop at their feet, but if you do hold B, the range will increase. Just like with the Piercer revolver, if you start charging, you're committed to the launch. Unlike the Piercer revolver, the damage doesn't actually change if you charge up, only its flight distance changes. The cooldown is a little bit bigger than the one from the Piercer, but watch out, these bombs do have friendly fire, so they can very easily just explode on your face. And as a bit of a neat synergy, if you shoot the core eject far enough that you manage to shoot it with the revolver, that makes the core eject explode on the spot and create a noticeably bigger explosion that does do more damage. But this also increases the risk of being caught in the explosion, so watch out. Oh, by the way, all weapons with the cooldown will be shown in V1's character UI, but only while they're actively in cooldown, to reduce clutter. Up special next, and for this one we're again pulling out the rocket launcher? Specifically, we'll be using the freeze frame rocket launcher. Upon activation, V1 will shoot one rocket, then freeze it and jump onto it. After a small pause, similar to Fox and Falco's up specials, the rocket will fly and take V1 with them. You can change the angle of the rocket before launch and influence it a little bit mid-flight, but it loses steam a lot faster if you go upwards compared to sideways. Hitting an opponent will deal some knockback and give V1 some upwards momentum, kinda like Villiers' side special, but it can be reflected, so watch out. If you press shield at the start of the move, V1 will not hop onto the rocket, and it will simply be a projectile. It won't really do much damage, knockback, or setup for better moves, but it has one more use I will talk about in a bit. V1 will never go into freefall after this move, regardless of which variant you use. But if you opt to ride the rocket, then it can't be used again until you land on the ground. And if you opt to just shoot it, that has a pretty long cooldown, which forces you to ride the rocket if you use up special again. Now for the down special, we're once again using the rocket launcher, bringing the last variant into play, the fire starter. Just like neutral and side specials, V1 pulls out the weapon of choice and can walk forward and back and do a single jump. Unlike those, however, V1 cannot alter their angle. It will always be aimed forward and slightly below them, but they can shield cancel this one. Using this while moving will spread gasoline everywhere, and then it will douse both the ground and opponents, similar to Inkling's ink. It doesn't do damage by itself, and it also doesn't add a damage multiplier, but it does make the terrain slippery, which is great for tricky movement. However, with it being gasoline, there are ways to light it up. You can launch a rocket from the up B into it, which is the main use for launching without riding. You can light it up using the core eject side special, or you can even light it by using a fully charged up smash, since the pump charge is able to light it up. Opponents with fire moves, like Charizard, can also light it up themselves. Once lit, it works similar to Cereburn's fire from Rivals of Ether, which deals damage over time and no knockback or even flinching. Unlike Cereburn, this won't give you broken smash attacks. And it also has friendly fire, so watch out. But hold on, isn't there a weapon type I'm missing here? Yeah, I haven't talked about the rail cannon at all. Well, that's because all three of them are folded into V1's final smash. That's right, V1 has 3 final smashes. The first one is the most basic, the electric rail cannon. Simply press B, and V1 will shoot the electric rail cannon forward. In terms of functionality, it works pretty much like Dark Pit's final smash, being one big laser that pierces everything. However, if you press A during the startup, then V1 will swap to the malicious rail cannon. Now it doesn't go through everything. The moment it touches something or someone, it will explode, which makes it work similar to Link's final smash. They deal the same damage and knockback regardless of which one you do, so in a 1v1 it actually doesn't matter which one you pick, but in a free-for-all, it could be a big deal. For the third one, V1 takes some pages from Ryu's final smashes here. If you are up close to the opponent, V1 will instead use a screwdriver rail cannon. It will freeze both V1 and the opponent in place, similar to something like Donkey Kong and Little Mac's final smashes. And the opponent will repeatedly take damage from the drill being in them, before V1 finishes off with a big punch, which does a lot more damage and horizontal knockback than the other two. The drawback, obviously, is that you have to be up close and personal to the opponent to use this. After the punch, the drill does travel forwards and do big damage to anyone in its way, but not only is it not as strong of a kill move at that point compared to the other two final smashes, V1 also won't get an opportunity to punch it again. And that's it for the main moveset. Everything past this point will be small little bonus cosmetic things that I think will be fun to bring up. Starting with the skins, V1 will of course rock the default blue look for the default colors. Skin number 2 will make them red, just like the way V2 looks. Skin number 3 will make them green, in the same vein as the color of the Ziplash arm. Skin number 4 will be a mixture of silver and gold, in reference to Gabriel, who you fight a few times in the game. Skin number 5 will be a translucent white with red lights, in reference to Minos Prime. Skin number 6 will be mostly black, mostly to fill out the colors, but you can take it as a reference to something wicked in previous versions. Skin number 7 will be more of a teal color, in reference to the Mind Flayer enemy. And skin number 8 will be a rock brown, in reference to the malicious face enemy, or Maris as everyone calls it. Now for the taunts. The first one has V1 throw a coin up in the air, then pushes it really high up, never to be seen again. I guess it's a dead coin now, huh? The second taunt makes V1 pull a power washer out of nowhere, then start spraying the ground with it. This is in reference to 7-S, a level where you have to clean all of the blood before you're able to finish. As for the last taunt, V1 will also pull an item out of nowhere, but this time it's a fishing rod. Bro will just start fishing. This is a taunt that you can actually hold out indefinitely. This is in reference to the level 5-S, where you're fishing. And as a bit of a bonus, if you use this taunt on a water stage, V1 will actually have a chance to fish out any of the fish that you can catch in that level. And yes, this includes the bomb fish, which could actually explode and hit opponents, but it's pretty rare to pull, so don't rely on it. V1's get up attack will be a basic sweep on the ground. The ledge get up would also be a basic sweep on the ground. Nothing too crazy. Third stage, intro will just have V1 land on the stage for a long fall, next to the shop, then they press a few buttons, pull out the revolver and ready up, implying they just equipped all their weapons. Their boxing ring title will be the original version, since they ain't called V1 for nothing. And finally for the victory animations, the first one has them sitting on a beach chair with a Hakira plush, just having a good time. This is in reference to the secret in 7-S, where you can go very far away onto a beach with Hakira. The second one has V1 sitting on a throne, then stand up and draw their weapon, in reference to the start of the second V2 fight in 4-4. The last one is V1 and Gabriel fighting for a bit. Then Gabriel kneels down and warps away. V1 then just looks at the camera with a thumbs up. Anyways, that's it for this video. I've had it in mind for some time now, and making Smash movesets is honestly kinda fun. I already have some more ideas for more characters that I want to make movesets for, so look out for that. But what do you think? Do you like this moveset? Are there any moves you would have done differently? Let me know in the comments. And before I leave, I just want to announce that I recently launched channel memberships. I'm still in the process of figuring out how it all works, but I can give shoutouts to members that give them early access to videos and allow them to use emotes. I'm trying to save up for a Switch 2 right now, so any support would be appreciated, but don't feel obligated to. Like the video if you enjoyed it, thank you all so much for watching, and take care.